The benefits of a robust parliament far outweigh the cost of maintaining the legislature. The budget of parliament at approximately today 17 billion Kenya shillings, including a substantial development budget and staff costs, stands at less than 2% of the total national budget. Take the national budget at 1 trillion shillings, and I can see Mr. Kinyua is nodding in agreement. What is 17 billion out of a trillion? Just about 2%. It is on record in the Akuimi report that a member of the public told the tribunal the following. This is Wanjiku talking to the tribunal when they were looking into review of the remuneration of members of parliament. And I quote, "If we feel that maintaining a legislature is an expensive thing that we cannot afford, then try dictatorship or military rule. It would be, in my opinion, paradoxical, if not outright anachronistic, for members of parliament playing this classical, perhaps unprecedented oversight role to be less remunerated than all the state officers and commissioners that they vet into office and hold to account. Permit me, with all modesty and humility that abounds in me, I believe, to ask, why does any well-meaning Kenyan want to demean the legislature? Is it not rightfully so the second arm of our government, strictly called? The trend that is emerging and that is being encouraged to take root is worrisome and, to my mind, untenable or simply unjust. As I have earlier averred, the average remuneration package for a member of parliament is a gross of Kenya shillings 851,000. My moles tell me, for comparative purposes, that the Commissioner General of the Kenya Revenue Authority, on the other hand, an officer who reports to Parliament through the Ministry of Finance, earns a monthly salary of Kenya shillings 800,000 and allowances of Kenya shillings 700,000, making a total of Kenya shillings 1,500,000. Commissioners in the Kenya Revenue Authority earn an average of Kenya shillings 1 million per month. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, my good friend Kinyua, always working very hard. In fact, I've had to work with him long hours, well into the night, earns just slightly over 1 million shillings, less than a Commissioner General. For all that work, the chair of the Commission on Implementation of the Constitution, my moles tell me, earns Kenya shillings 1,240,000 per month. Members of the Commission earn Kenya shillings 1,140,000. This Commission, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, reports to the Committee of the National Assembly on Implementation of the Constitution, whose members earn 851,000. Members of the Judicial Service Commission receive a sitting allowance of Kenya shillings 80,000 per sitting, vis-a-vis members of the Parliamentary Service Commission who earn a sitting allowance of Kenya shillings 10,000 per sitting, 1/8 of what members of the Judicial Service Commission will earn at a sitting. Members of parliamentary committees earn Kenya shillings 5,000 per sitting. Compare that to 80,000. The remuneration of state officers, therefore, no doubt, requires harmonization and equity, as well as a measure of parity while recognizing the roles and responsibilities of each category. It is important to bear in mind that the Constitution and the standing orders create various offices within Parliament. The parliamentary office holders shall need to be distinguished and acknowledged appropriate differentiation by appropriate differentiation in their responsibility allowances. These offices include the following, Madam Chair. And when we saw perhaps what was the mock structure of public and service or state officers, we did not see this captured. And we were alarmed. And we hope that our alarm perhaps isn't founded. But you will need to recognize the following offices in the legislature. A, the speakers of both houses of Parliament. B, the leader of the majority in each house. C, the leader of the minority in each house. D, deputy speakers of both houses. E, chairpersons of committees. F, vice chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission. G, parliamentary service commissioners. H, members of the speakers panel. I, chief whip. J, vice chairpersons of committees. And K, opposition and other party whips. And finally, ordinary members of Parliament. The allowances of members of Parliament have, up until passage of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, traditionally been exempt from taxation by dint of the National Assembly Renumeration Act. It is important, indeed instructive, embracing international best practice, to remember this when setting the remuneration for members of Parliament, so as to eschew a situation that may be demonstrably arbitrary and perhaps arguably oppressive, to whip members of Parliament into submission at the expense of good governance that will dispatch the dual concepts of separation of powers and checks and balances to the dogs.